Ready? They said back then blackness was dangerous. Savage, animalistic. Blackness born out of the belly of slave ships or thrown overboard these same slave ships. My ancestors thrown overboard to sharks in the Atlantic, fed to dogs in the trenches, eaten by white flesh, devoured by white supremacy, white superiority. Our bones are at the bottom of the ocean. They have created a railroad. So check this. I stand here in a prison. I look outside the prison walls and I look to the humans that exist now. I see how they exist, how they operate, but I am not one. I do not have the privileges that the human has in society. So check this, have you ever been afraid to live in your own skin? The law of walking while being black, that's a prison in yourself. That's a terrible thing. Blackness, a weapon that erases the entity of the subject. See you coming down the block, you watching me like you watch the clock. That's the white gaze off the top because of y'all. Life beyond 18 is icky. More black males in jail than slaves in 1850. Now look in the mirror, see, tell me if that's a conspiracy. Prison for crack rock, the color of white supremacy. See, just got a call yesterday. My boy, he just had a birthday. He's in a group program, he just got an A on a survey. He's never been dumb, though his literacy level is below sea level. He's caught up with the beast, the D-devil, eyes on fire beneath the tea kettle. Now he's 18. Release daydreams. It's about time. Thought he was free till the gatekeepers gave him adult time. When will the bulb shine? In this dark hour, in this bloodline, the soft power, no BET, a smart scholar, no GED, intellects, young Malcolm X, feds like FedEx mail, they shipped him off to federal jail, off to Michigan. His family can't afford to visit him, so recidivism in the prison system is the heartbeat of Wall Street, where private jails create profit sales. So every time you hear the bells on the clock, it's black males on the stock like slaves on the dock. Now check this. Prison complexes in Texas decreased because of less entries, more exits. The state lost money, so what's next is they go after the Mexican immigrants altogether, arrested and guilty altogether, more cellmates to fill more bed space. They might lose money, but that's dead weight. More capitalism, so that's why we face capital punishment. 40 years after being in prison, Verizon stocks rise for collect calls, leeching the life behind these dead walls. Every individual needs to understand one thing. Marijuana legalization does nothing to change the fabric of the prison system, nor does it change how blackness is policed in civil society and how their subjectivity is erased by the structures of anti-blackness. Performance debate calls for the end of the targeting and the designating of criminality upon the body, the structures that say your subjectivity shouldn't exist in the first place. We explicitly challenge these through acts of disidentification, hyper-incarceration. We challenge this through our method. This is Cooper 13. The result of the war on drugs, the hyper-incarceration, hyper-desensitization, represents the exclusion, the incarceration, hyper-incarceration, desensitization, targeting specific groups of people. War on drugs is ongoing, consists of the policy, society, exclusion, production, distribution, consumption of illegal drugs, systematic marijuana, where spectacular test, stop production, high-level distribution, rejected drug wires, mostly equal with low-level distribution, day-to-day consumption of a large percentage of drug war, arrested, overconsumption, depression, low use of marijuana, low-level drugs, a significant percentage of population cross race that try marijuana, blood drug assumption may come from increments of marijuana rates of drug use, very similar cross race, police file, who is the drug when we do cause, perpetrators, they would cast more drug use than minority neighborhoods, and stock racial disparities in, arrest and conviction of drug crimes in major cities, 90% of that men have criminal records, 1 in 3 of them are under control of criminal justice system, that includes young black men in probation or parole, as convicts are often on or overwhelmingly underplayed, post-conviction disabilities such as deprivation rights will perpetually notion that of constitute criminal justice and systematic permanently excluded from mainstream society, secularized citizenship, history of racism in the United States, social comments in the United States, peculiar institution required not approach by ideology for white side systematically conclude the idea that different from blacks. Also, the The legal system has it backwards. Blind legalization fails when prisoners are released into mainstream society after their sentence, and they have no access to housing, welfare, social security rights. To be black in America is to already be born criminal, to already be born without a subject, to already be born and policed by everything else around you. That is already the positionality of the object. This is the anti-2K13, man. I almost blew you away. I thought you had a weapon. The officer had already inherited poison assumptions of white gaze. Had you already come to see the black man body is different. The black boy carrying a telescope was a continuing wall as he had so many good. White race the rights prescribed by black body was police is dangerous. I wait for the day when the white president will say there's no way that I can actually to table my day. What comes by through? White privilege and immune system had reached a point where my in the country I didn't like to be followed. Watch out, black men have had the experience of walking across the street and hearing the loud stick on side of doors. There are times when I want to become their boogeyman. I want to pull open the door and shout a surprise. You make carjack by fantasy of your own creation, give it a voice to the desperate. I'm just going to make violence to lifestyle. They face Jewish. I'm providing constant social space. Tom Jefferson Row. Neighbors are done in period. Maternity was defined as someone's cruel, vengeful, treacherous, nasty, dishonest, liar, given to stealing white pieces of global and historically mobile bodies. In America, tend to be reduced to stereotypes, constructing falses for those bodies to assume social spaces in which white people move. These white gaze surrounded in material relations of power. Within, though it only gives whites the capacity to make evaluable world respect. When boys and men are under surveillance and invisible trademark was invisible as Zimmerman, childhood and humanity were already criminalized as a part of a white racist narrative about black male bodies. Trademark needed no introduction. The black male criminal caller was racially assaulted. It is this first one that tropes black anti-race through the suspicious guys. The black male body he's got something in his hands when wearing a hoodie. He's a racist narrative of fear and friends. The history of white supremacy underlies the interpretation before his physical death by rendered socially and other ways similar stereotypes. What it does say about American by ontological crime of being blackness is equal. Black man is marked for death, destined for eradication, and the discourse of law and law has infected mainstream media by its beliefs. Blackness for implications. One, it caused the internalization of psychic violence amongst black people where they believe they only exist to be demons, to a civil society, to promote self-fulfilling prophecy leads to violence and the real police brutality, gratuitous violence, and then three, black people become antagonistic to the law where they never seek the political, they never seek to materialize change in their lives, and four, white people become violent and exterminate black bodies. That is the root cause of black suicide. Thus, we advocate for a poetic interpretation of the resolution. We may not be direct governmental action, but we are grounded within the resolution. We are in a discussion of marijuana laws and how they affect people. Therefore, we meet the endpoint of the resolution. We must collectively call for engagement with the poetics of marijuana legalization. Poetics is a language for survival. Is a language that is not intelligible to humanity. This becomes 10. Survival is a pedagogy, secret and forbidden knowledge that we pass on educating each other to set of skills and beliefs and based on curriculum that our lives are valued in a way economization of the world was already surprised with the collection and market of research survival, the motive, critical insight came from the course of critical primary survival, the afterlife, activity exist with challenging thoughts about how it failed to kill us, essential morality, performance, survival, the poetic intervention, due to the conclusion of the proposal narrative, then we were never meant to survive the challenge of the gospel individuals, survivors, equal, accurate, repressed communities, interrupt social reproduction sanctions, and then those were never meant to survive, and next legalization is inevitably coming in the status quo, so the act must control the conversation. It's necessary to solve severe policy failure and error replication, and next poetry is reinvigorating. This is Moen 3. Have you ever suffered from political spirit? What does it mean suffer from political spirit? I didn't about utopian political spirit or relation to political morning, principles, wrong chasing with traditions, ways, the possibility of eradication, certain upset, it means also transmitting the right of post social and tragic in the black radical relation to the absolute recoverability, the possibility of return to African home, the political homelessness, the second which is tragic function, weakness, possibility of realization through the poem, and also our relation to poetry, Saul's for the spirit is Milton 12 writing, Lewis becomes the source of revolution, change writing back to survival for all the screen, bathroom, reinforcing role, the story to vital system, existence, the storm, the hopes and towards for survival and change.
Yeah, marked it. I'm going to see. Where's the marker here? Change. Okay.
Yeah, just remind me to get it back to you. You ready?
Sure.
Yep. Okay, cool. Why the that?
Because the act is a performance of poetry, and poetry is good.
What justifies an affirmative ballot? Do you check whether your poetry is good?
No, right? The ballot justifies who did the better debating, and the round, obviously. obviously.
Okay.
Right? We say that poetry outlines a couple impacts, right?
Sure.
And sure, right? The judge should compare the impacts of the act and the impacts of the negative,
Okay.
right?
What are the impacts of poetry? What impacts does poetry song?
Sure, that's a better question. Thanks for asking, right? So we say that poetry is key to three things, right? Visibility, self-determination, and coalitional building, right? Those three things can amount to various types of strategies in the real world, right?
Sorry,
and those
can I
strategies
stop you?
attack
What is-
systems of oppression.
What is visibility? What does it mean to be visible?
Visible to what? To be
What does it mean to be
visible?
visible? Visibility.
Middleton explains this, and she indicates how, particularly, she's writing more about the context of women of color, but more generally, people of color have been excluded from conversations in the political and any type of discussions, and how their voices are always ignored.
Because the reason
in
why their voices are ignored is because their research is considered to not be truly Western or to be truly useful to people who are considered to be the utmost elite humans, right?
Okay.
Their discourse is not considered to be useful, so it's criminalized, right?
Okay, fair enough. You say the tag to this Yancey card is the legal system has it backwards, blind legalization fails. What is blind legalization?
Let me give you an example of blind legalization, right? So in a world where you would just like simply just like legalize something and not actually think about the implications, right? We say those cause things like error
That's
application,
what blind
right?
means.
So error
Obviously, okay, I know what you're going for right now, obviously, right? We think that there's a usage of a term in a different context than what you were trying to go
You don't think that's a problem at all?
See, you just made it a problem because you just created that dichotomy, right?
The Cooper piece of evidence says that you challenge through disidentification. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
What does disidentification mean?
Okay, so Middleton's theory of disidentification says that we should create strategies that move away from the normative systems of thought in the status quo, right? So the normative systems of thought that criminalize bodies, right? So we say poetry is unintelligible, right, and is a move away from the normative
Why is poetry
systems of
unintelligible?
thought. Because you don't know what my poetry means. You don't know what any of the shit that I just said meant.
Real. So this all
You
of
wanna
the
tell me what it
poetics
meant?
of the money
You wanna tell me
CEOs.
what it meant?
What?
Exactly. You can't tell me what it meant because it was unintelligible. That is why it was a breakaway from the normative humanistic notions of what it means to be understood by civil society.
Okay.